Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon and watched the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. The Galactic Council headquarters looked like a giant crystal floating in space, with hundreds of ships from different alien races docked around it. His small human vessel looked tiny compared to the sleek Zephyrian battleships and the massive Hive collective carriers. "Captain, we're receiving a docking assignment," said Lieutenant Pete Rogers from the communications station. "Bay 847, subsection C." Jake nodded. Subsection C was where they put the small, unimportant ships. The humans always got subsection C. "Take us in, Pete." Dr. Lisa Park joined Jake at the front of the bridge. She was Earth's best expert on alien cultures and had been studying the galactic races for 20 years. "Another council meeting where they'll ignore everything we say," she said quietly. "Maybe this time will be different," Jake replied, but he didn't sound like he believed it. The New Horizon docked with a soft thud. Jake looked at his crew of 12 humans. They were good people, but their ship was old and their weapons were basic compared to what the other races had. At least that's what everyone in the galaxy thought. Ambassador Kate Sullivan was waiting for them in the docking bay. She had been Earth's representative to the Galactic Council for 5 years, and Jake could see the stress on her face. Dealing with alien politics was not easy, especially when most aliens thought humans were primitive. "Jake, Lisa, good to see you," Kate said, shaking their hands. "How's things back on Earth?" "Quiet," Jake answered. "Admiral Carter sends his regards. He's still working on those mining projects in the asteroid belt." Kate nodded. Admiral Roy Carter was in charge of Earth's small defense fleet. Most people in the galaxy knew he spent his time mining asteroids for resources. It wasn't very exciting compared to what the other races were doing. They walked through the station's corridors toward the council chamber. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that showed images of different worlds. Jake saw the green forests of Zephyr Prime, the metal cities of the Hive worlds, and the bright energy fields where the Luminari lived. "What's today's meeting about?" Lisa asked. "The usual," Kate said with a tired voice. "Trade agreements, territory disputes, and complaints about pirates in the outer systems. The Zephyrians want more mining rights. The Hive wants to expand their colonies. The Luminari are worried about energy thieves." They entered the massive council chamber. The room was huge, with seats for representatives from over 100 different species. The Zephyrians sat in the front, their green, scaly skin catching the light. They were the oldest space-traveling race and considered themselves the leaders of the galaxy. Behind them sat the insect-like members of the Hive collective, their forearms constantly moving as they communicated with each other. The Luminari floated in special energy containers looking like bright balls of light. The human section was in the back with only 3 seats. Kate sat in the middle, with Jake and Lisa on either side. Most of the other representatives didn't even look at them. High Counselor Zethran, a tall Zephyrian with golden scales, called the meeting to order. His voice boomed across the chamber. "Today we discuss the reports from the Outer Rim territories. There have been strange attacks on several worlds." A Hive representative clicked and buzzed, which the translation system turned into words. 7 of our mining colonies have gone silent in the past month. No distress signals, no survivors. The same has happened to 3 Zephyrian outposts," added another counselor. "Complete loss of contact." Jake and Lisa looked at each other. They had heard rumors about these attacks, but this was the first official confirmation. A Luminari's bright form pulsed as it spoke. "Our scouts report unusual energy readings before each disappearance. Something is consuming these worlds." High Counselor Zethran's yellow eyes swept the chamber. "These are isolated incidents on unimportant frontier worlds. Pirates, most likely. Or equipment failures. We should not panic over every small problem." Kate stood up. "With respect, High Counselor, losing 10 worlds in 1 month doesn't sound small." Several alien representatives turned to look at the humans with surprise. It was rare for the human ambassador to speak during important discussions. "Ambassador Sullivan," Zethran said with barely hidden irritation, "these matters concern the major powers of the galaxy. Perhaps Earth should focus on its own small problems." Kate's face turned red, but she sat down. Jake put a hand on her shoulder. This was always how it went. The humans were treated like children who should be seen and not heard. The meeting continued. For 3 hours. The aliens argued about trade routes and territory boundaries while the reports of missing worlds were pushed aside. Jake noticed that none of the major powers wanted to admit they might have a serious problem. After the meeting, Jake, Lisa, and Kate returned to the New Horizon. The ship felt cramped after the huge council chamber, but it was home. Every time, Kate said, falling into a chair in the ship's small conference room. Every single time they treat us like we don't matter. Maybe that's for the best, Lisa said quietly. If they knew what we were really doing back home, they might not be so dismissive. Jake nodded. Admiral Carter's last message said the asteroid belt projects are ahead of schedule. Phase 3 should be complete within 6 months. Kate looked out the small window at the alien ships surrounding them. Sometimes I wonder if we're doing the right thing, keeping secrets, hiding our real capabilities. We've been the underdogs for over a century, Jake said. Every time we've shared our technology, it's been stolen or used against us. Maybe it's time the galaxy learned not to underestimate humanity. Lisa pulled up a datapad with reports from Earth. The mining operations are definitely not what they appear to be. Ben Woods sent me some interesting readings from the Ceres facility. Chief Engineer Woods always was creative, Jake said with a small smile. They sat in comfortable silence. For a while, listening to the hum of the ship's engines. Outside their window, alien vessels came and went from the station, carrying out the business of a galaxy that saw humanity as barely worth noticing. None of them knew that in a few months, everything would change. The reports of missing worlds were just the beginning. Something was coming from beyond the galaxy, something hungry and vast and unstoppable, and when it arrived, the galaxy would discover that the quiet, unimportant humans had been preparing for this day for a very long time. The New Horizon undocked from the station and set course for Earth. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued its meetings, still ignoring the growing darkness at the edge of known space. Commander Alex Turner floated in the darkness between stars, watching something that shouldn't exist. His ship, the Silent Runner, was completely hidden from all sensors, using technology that the galaxy didn't know humans possessed. Through the main viewer, he could see the Zephyrian colony world of Kethmore being consumed. The planet was dying. Strange, dark ships the size of cities were attached to its surface like parasites, draining away everything. The oceans were gone. The atmosphere was being pulled into massive tubes that fed into the alien vessels. Alex had been watching for 6 hours, and the planet was already half its original size. "Commander, are you getting this?" whispered Sergeant Maria Lopez from the sensor station. Her voice was shaky. "Recording everything," Alex replied. "Send a burst transmission to Admiral Carter immediately. Classification level black." The things eating the planet were like nothing in any database. They moved with purpose, breaking apart continents and feeding the material into their ships. Alex counted at least 50 of the massive vessels, and more were arriving through some kind of portal in space. "Sir, I'm reading 17 million life signs on Kethmore when we arrived," said Corporal Danny Kim from the life support station. "Now there are none." Alex felt cold. 17 million Zephyrians gone in less than a day. Are they evacuating? People or... "No escape pods, no fleeing ships," Maria answered. "The population just stopped existing." On the screen, the last pieces of Kethmore disappeared into the alien ships. What had been a living world with cities and farms was now empty space. The dark vessels turned and moved toward the next star system. "Set course for Earth," Alex ordered. "Maximum stealth speed." The Silent Runner was one of 12 scout ships that officially didn't exist. While the galaxy thought humans were busy mining asteroids, ships like Alex's had been exploring beyond the known regions for 30 years. They had found many things out there in the dark, but nothing like this. 3 days later, Alex stood in Admiral Roy Carter's office deep beneath the Earth's surface. The office was built into solid rock, hundreds of meters underground. Through the thick windows, Alex could see the massive construction bays where humanity's real fleet was being built. "Show me the footage again," Admiral Carter said. He was A tough man in his 60s with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been preparing for something like this for most of his life. Alex played the recording of Kethmore's destruction. Carter watched without speaking as an entire world was consumed in less than a day. "How many ships did you count?" Carter asked when the footage ended. 57 confirmed, but the portal stayed open. More could have come through after we left. Carter nodded and pressed a button on his desk. The wall behind him became transparent, showing the construction bay. Inside, workers in spacesuits were putting the finishing touches on something impossible. It looked like an asteroid, but Alex could see the weapon ports and engine exhausts hidden in its surface. "That's Unit 43, Carter said. "We have 89 of them completed, with 16 more finishing this month." Alex stared at the disguised battleship. It was 3 kilometers long and looked exactly like a normal space rock. "The galaxy has no idea." "The galaxy thinks we're simple miners," Carter said with a grim smile. "Chief Engineer Ben Woods has done excellent work making sure our mining equipment looks harmless." Another wall screen showed Ben Woods in his workshop. He was a thin man with wild hair who loved solving impossible problems. Around him, teams of engineers were installing weapons systems that looked like ore processors. "Ben's latest creation can punch a hole through a Zephyrian dreadnought and make it look like an industrial accident," Carter continued. "But if these devourers are as dangerous as your footage suggests, we might need everything we've built." Alex had heard rumors about the scale of humanity's secret preparations, but seeing it was different. "Sir, exactly how much of our fleet is hidden?" Carter smiled for the first time since Alex had arrived. "Let me show you something." The Admiral led Alex to an elevator that went even deeper underground. When the doors opened, they stepped into an observation deck overlooking the largest space dock Alex had ever seen. The chamber was so big that clouds formed near the ceiling. Inside, suspended in zero gravity, was something that took Alex's breath away. "We've been working on this for 40 years, Carter said quietly. It was the moon. Not a ship that looked like the moon, but Earth's actual moon, hollowed out and converted into the largest battleship ever built. Alex could see the massive engines, hidden in craters on the far side, and weapon ports disguised as natural formations. "Luna Prime," Carter said. "Our ultimate weapon. The galaxy thinks our moon is just a dead rock orbiting Earth. They have no idea it's been mobile for 20 years. Alex couldn't speak. The engineering required to convert the moon into a spaceship was beyond anything the other races had achieved. "How many people know about this?" Alex finally asked. "Maybe 3,000 across the entire project. Everyone thinks they're working on small parts. Only a few dozen know the full scope." Carter's communication device buzzed. He listened for a moment, then his face grew serious. "The Devourers just hit the hive colony of Zentar," he said. "The Galactic Council is finally admitting there might be a problem." "What are our orders, sir?" Alex asked. "Alex, General Susan Blake is coordinating our response from the Pentagon facility. She wants all scout ships to monitor Devourer movements but stay hidden. We're not ready to reveal ourselves yet." Carter walked to another window showing a different construction bay. Inside, hundreds of smaller asteroids were being fitted with weapons and engines. "The galaxy is about to learn that humanity isn't the weak little species they thought we were," Carter said. "But first, let's see how bad this threat really is." Alex saluted and turned to leave, but Carter called him back. "Commander, when this starts, it's going to get ugly fast. The other races have powerful fleets, but they've never faced anything. Like these Devourers. They're going to lose, and they're going to lose badly." "And then?" Alex asked. "Then they're going to come to us for help. And when they do, we'll show them what humanity has been building while they ignored us." Alex returned to the Silent Runner with new orders and a much better understanding of what was coming. As his ship left Earth's orbit, he looked back at the moon. It looked peaceful and normal, just a gray rock in space. No one would suspect that inside it were weapons that could destroy entire fleets. In the distance, he could see some of the mining operations in the asteroid belt. Now he knew the truth. Every asteroid, every mining platform, every piece of equipment was part of humanity's hidden war machine. The galaxy thought humans were weak and unimportant. Soon, they would learn how wrong they were. But first, the Devourers had to finish teaching the other races a lesson about being too confident. Alex set course for the Outer Rim, where darkness was spreading from star to star, consuming everything in its path. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. High Counselor Zethron's usual calm was gone as he read the latest reports. 12 Zephyrian worlds had vanished in the past week. The Hive Collective had lost their 3 largest colonies. Even the energy-based Luminari were reporting attacks on their home systems. Ambassador Kate Sullivan sat in the human section, watching the panic spread through the chamber. Representatives from dozens of species were shouting at each other, demanding protection that no one could provide. "The Outer Rim is gone," announced General Karthek, the Zephyrian military commander. His green scales had turned pale. "Everything beyond Sector 7 has been consumed. We've lost contact with over 60 worlds." A Hive representative's forearms moved frantically as it spoke. "Our battle fleets cannot stop them. The Devourers destroyed the 7th swarm in minutes. Thousands of ships gone." Kate stood up slowly. The chamber gradually became quiet as aliens noticed the human ambassador rising. "The Galactic Council requests immediate military assistance from all member species," Zethron said, looking directly at Kate. "Humanity must contribute whatever forces it can spare." Kate smiled, and something in that smile made several aliens step back. "Of course, High Counselor. We're prepared to help." She pressed a button on her communication device. "Admiral Carter, please begin the Revelation Protocol." High above the space station, reality started to change. What had appeared to be empty, space began to shimmer. Massive shapes became visible as cloaking systems shut down. The aliens in the council chamber rushed to the windows and stared in shock. Surrounding the Galactic Council headquarters were hundreds of warships that hadn't been there moments before. But these weren't normal ships. They were asteroids, moons, and small planetoids, all bristling with weapons and engines. "What is this?" Zethron demanded, his voice shaking. Captain Jake Morrison appeared on the main screen from the bridge of what looked like a floating mountain. "This is the Sol Defense Fleet reporting for duty." The chamber erupted in confused voices. Dr. Lisa Park stood beside Kate, pulling out a data pad with information she had been waiting years to share. "For the past century, while you thought we were mining asteroids, we were actually building the largest space fleet in galactic history," Lisa announced. "Every asteroid, every moon, every piece of space rock in the Sol system has been converted into a battleship." On the screen, Jake's image was replaced by Admiral Carter speaking from Earth. "The human fleet consists of 105 planet-class vessels, over 3,000 asteroid-class ships, and approximately 50,000 smaller craft, all disguised as mining operations." A luminary representative pulsed with disbelief. "Impossible. Our sensors would have detected military construction on such a scale." Chief Engineer Ben Woods appeared on another screen from his workshop. His wild hair was messier than usual, and he looked excited. "We developed new stealth technology specifically to hide from your sensors. Your ships see mining equipment because that's what we wanted them to see." The main viewer switched to show the human fleet in action. What appeared to be a simple asteroid fired its engines and accelerated faster than any ship its size should be able to move. Weapon ports opened along its surface, revealing firepower that made the aliens gasp. "This is impossible," General Karthek said weakly. "Humans are a Class 5 species. Your technology is centuries behind ours." Ben Woods grinned on the screen. "We've been studying your technology for over 100 years. Every trade agreement, every cultural exchange, every diplomatic visit gave us access to your science. We just never told you what we were doing with it." Kate walked to the center of the chamber. "We took the best from every species and made it better. Zephyrian engines, Hive computers, luminary energy systems, all improved and combined with human engineering." Commander Alex Turner's voice came through the communication system. "Scout fleet reports Devourer movement toward the Andorian system. Estimated arrival in 6 hours." Admiral Carter nodded. "Battle Group 7, intercept and engage. Show them what we can do." The main screen switched to show space near the Andorian colonies. The dark ships of the Devourers were approaching, the same terrifying vessels that had consumed dozens of worlds. But this time, they were met by something they hadn't seen before. A single asteroid drifted toward the Devourer fleet. It was only 2 kilometers across, tiny compared to the city-sized alien ships. The Devourers ignored it, focusing on the planet they planned to consume. Then the asteroid opened fire. Beams of energy erupted from hidden weapons all across its surface. The power output was impossible for something that size. The nearest Devourer ship, larger than most space stations, was cut in half by the first volley. "How?" whispered a Hive representative. "We hollowed out the asteroids and filled them with power systems," Ben Woods explained. "Each one has the firepower of 10 traditional battleships, but they're protected by kilometers of solid rock." On the screen, more asteroids appeared around the Devourers. The alien invaders found themselves surrounded by what they thought were harmless space rocks. When the human fleet opened fire simultaneously, the Devourer formation was destroyed in minutes. The council chamber was completely silent. Representatives from species that had treated humanity as inferior for over a century stared at the displays showing their primitive allies wiping out the unstoppable threat. "This changes everything," Zethran said quietly. Kate nodded. "Yes, it does. The question is, are you ready to follow humanity's lead in this war?" General Susan Blake appeared on the communication system from Earth's command center. "All galactic forces are ordered to fall back to defensive positions. Human battle groups will take point against the Devourers. We've been preparing for this fight for decades." A young Zephyrian officer spoke up from the back of the chamber. "How long have you been planning this?" Admiral Carter answered from Earth. "We started hiding our true capabilities after the first time our technology was stolen and used against us. That was 73 years ago. Since then, every mining operation has been part of our military buildup." Lisa pulled up holographic displays showing the true scope of human construction. "We've been moving our fleet into position throughout the galaxy for 20 years. There are human battle groups within 1 day's travel of every major world. You've been watching us," accused a Luminary representative. "We've been protecting you," Kate corrected. "How do you think space pirates suddenly became so rare in the outer systems? Human ships have been quietly eliminating threats for decades." The reality of the situation began to sink in. The species that had dismissed humanity as weak and backward had actually been the galaxy's secret guardians for generations. "What do you want from us?" Zethran asked. Kate looked around the chamber at the faces of aliens who had ignored humanity for so long. "We want you to survive. The Devourers are just the beginning. Our deep space scouts have detected other threats beyond this galaxy. We need to work together, but this time humanity leads." Admiral Carter's voice filled the chamber. "Fleet command to all vessels. Begin full revelation. It's time the galaxy saw what we've really built." Throughout known space, human ships stopped hiding. Asteroids revealed themselves as battleships. Moons fired their engines and took combat positions. Mining stations extended weapon arrays that had been hidden for decades. And at the edge of the Sol system, the moon itself began to move, its massive engines creating a light show visible from Earth. Luna Prime, humanity's ultimate weapon, was finally ready for war. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Luna Prime as Earth's moon accelerated toward the Zephyrian home system. Through the massive viewing ports, he could see the blue glow of the moon's engines, lighting up space behind them. The bridge was built inside what used to be a natural cave, but now it was the command center for the most powerful warship ever created. "Admiral, we're receiving distress calls from Zephyr Prime," reported Communications Officer Pete Rogers. "The Devourers have broken through their defense line." Jake studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian homeworld was surrounded by the wreckage of their once mighty fleet. Hundreds of their ships had been destroyed trying to stop just 12 Devourer vessels. Now the Planet Eaters were moving toward the world where 8 billion Zephyrians lived. "Time to intercept?" Jake asked. 17 minutes at current speed, answered Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the navigation station. Signal Battle Group Alpha, Jake ordered. All asteroid-class ships, prepare for ramming speed. Through the communication system, Jake could hear the responses from ships throughout the fleet. What looked like ordinary space rocks were actually humanity's most dangerous weapons. Each asteroid had been hollowed out and filled with engines, weapons, and the strongest armor ever built. Commander Alex Turner's voice came through from the silent runner. Scout reports show Devourer ships are beginning to attach to Zephyr Prime's surface. They're starting the consumption process. Not on our watch, Jake said grimly. All ships, maximum acceleration. General Susan Blake's face appeared on the main screen from Earth's command center. Admiral, you are authorized to use any means necessary to save Zephyr Prime. The Galactic Council is watching. Jake nodded. The aliens who had dismissed humanity for over a century were about to see what humans could really do. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zephyr system. 12 massive Devourer ships were wrapped around the planet like parasites, already beginning to strip away the atmosphere. Around them floated the debris of the Zephyrian defense fleet. All ships, attack formation Omega, Jake commanded. What happened next had never been seen in galactic warfare. The human asteroids didn't slow down as they approached the Devourers. Instead, they accelerated. Each rock was traveling at incredible speed. Its mass turned into a weapon. The first asteroid, commanded by Captain Tony Hayes, slammed into a Devourer ship with the force of a small planet. The alien vessel, larger than most cities, was crushed instantly. The asteroid ship emerged from the other side, its armor barely scratched, ready to attack again. Direct hit on Devourer 7, reported Hayes. Target destroyed. Asteroid 7 Alpha intact and ready for second pass. All across the battlefield, human ships were ramming the Devourers at speeds that would destroy normal vessels. But these weren't normal ships. They were chunks of solid rock with engines attached, nearly indestructible. Dr. Lisa Park monitored the battle from her position on Luna Prime. The Devourers can't adapt to our tactics, she reported. They're designed to fight traditional space, fleets not flying mountains. Chief Engineer Ben Woods appeared on screen from his workshop, where he was coordinating the fleet's technical operations. The beauty of our design is simplicity, he said with excitement. You can't destroy a ship. That's mostly solid rock. And when that rock is moving at high speed, it becomes the ultimate weapon. On the planet below, High Counselor Zethran watched the battle from his command bunker. The Zephyrian leader could barely believe what he was seeing. The humans, whom his people had treated as primitive, were destroying an enemy that had wiped out the greatest Zephyrian fleets in history. Open a channel to the human fleet, Zethran ordered. Jake's face appeared on the Zephyrian communication system. High Counselor, we're busy saving your planet. Can this wait? Admiral Morrison, on behalf of the Zephyrian Empire, I formally request that humanity take command of this battle and all future operations against the Devourers. Jake smiled as another asteroid ship punched through a Devourer vessel. Request? Accepted. All galactic forces are now under human command. The battle was over in less than an hour. 12 Devourer ships that had seemed unstoppable were reduced to floating debris. The human fleet had lost no ships and taken no significant damage. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 3 more Devourer ships in the outer system, reported Alex Turner. They're trying to retreat. Negative, Jake replied. No survivors. We end this threat here. Admiral Roy Carter's voice came through from Earth. Admiral Morrison, long-range sensors detect a much larger Devourer force moving toward the galaxy's core worlds. Estimated arrival in 72 hours. Jake studied the star charts. The new threat was massive. Over 300 Devourer ships, including some that were larger than anything they had seen before. How large is the enemy fleet, he asked. Some of those ships are the size of small moons, Carter replied. Traditional tactics won't work against something that big. Ambassador Kate Sullivan joined the communication from the Galactic Council station. Admiral, every species in the galaxy is asking for human protection. The Hive Collective is evacuating their core worlds. The Luminari are preparing to abandon their home dimension. Jake looked at the tactical display showing the approaching threat. Even with humanity's hidden fleet, this would be their greatest challenge. Admiral Carter, what's the status of Project Deep Strike? Jake asked. Fully operational, Carter replied with satisfaction. All conversion work is complete. Jake smiled. Then it's time to show the galaxy our final surprise. Throughout human space, seemingly normal planets began to move. Mercury fired massive engines hidden on its dark side. Mars accelerated out of its orbit, weapon ports opening across its surface. Even some of Earth's largest asteroids revealed themselves as disguised battleships. But the greatest surprise was still to come. At the edge of the Sol system, something impossible began to happen. Earth itself was moving. Dr. Park's readings confirmed what looked unbelievable. The homeworld conversion is complete, she announced. Earth is now mobile. The planet that had given birth to humanity was now the ultimate warship. Engines the size of continents pushed it through space. Weapons built into mountain ranges could destroy entire fleets. And at its heart, 10 billion humans continued their lives protected by armor made from the planet's reinforced crust. All planetary-class vessels set course for the galactic core, Jake commanded. We're going to meet this threat head-on. As Earth, Luna Prime, Mars, and dozens of other converted worlds accelerated toward the enemy, Jake received a message. From High Counselor Zethron, Admiral Morrison, the Galactic Council formally recognizes human supremacy in all military matters. We place ourselves under your protection. Jake looked out at the fleet of planets following his command. The galaxy that had ignored humanity for over a century was about to see the true power of the species they had underestimated. Message received, High Counselor. Humanity accepts responsibility for galactic defense. The final battle was about to begin, and this time, Earth itself was going to war. Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison watched the tactical display as the largest space battle in galactic history began. The Devourer mothership was the size of Earth's moon, a massive black sphere that gave birth to the smaller planet-eating vessels. Around it, 300 Devourer ships formed a wall of destruction heading straight for the galaxy's core worlds. But they were not unopposed. For the first time in history, entire planets had come to fight. Earth reporting ready for combat, came Admiral Carter's voice from humanity's homeworld. The planet had moved into position at the center of the human formation, its continental weapons arrays charging with enough power to destroy solar systems. Mars battle group in position, reported General Blake from the Red Planet's command center. Mars had been the first planetary conversion, secretly transformed over 40 years into a mobile fortress. Luna Prime ready, Jake confirmed from his position on the weaponized moon. Around him, the bridge crew worked at stations built into solid rock, controlling weapons that could crack worlds. The alien representatives of the Galactic Council watched from their headquarters, safe behind Earth's planetary shields. High Counselor Zethron stared at the displays showing human planets moving through space like massive ships. This is impossible, whispered a Hive representative. You've turned entire worlds into weapons. Ambassador Kate Sullivan stood beside them, finally able to reveal the full scope of humanity's preparations. We've been working on planetary mobility for 60 years. Every geological survey was actually military engineering. Dr. Lisa Park monitored the approaching enemy from her science station. The mothership is releasing more Devourers. Count now at over 500 smaller vessels. Chief Engineer Ben Woods appeared on communication screens throughout the fleet. All planetary drive systems are functioning perfectly, he announced. Earth's engines are operating at full capacity. Mars is maintaining formation speed. Luna Prime is ready for close combat. The Devourer fleet spread out as it approached, trying to surround the human formation. But Jake had planned for this. Execute Battle Plan Omega, he commanded. All asteroid ships maximum ramming speed, hundreds of disguised asteroids accelerated toward the enemy. Each one was a flying mountain with engines designed to punch through anything in its path. The Devourers opened fire with weapons that could strip the surface from planets, but the asteroids kept coming. First contact in 30 seconds, reported Commander Alex Turner from his scout ship position. The collision was spectacular. Human asteroids slammed into devourer vessels with the force of meteors. The alien ships, used to fighting traditional fleets, couldn't stop attacks from solid chunks of rock traveling at incredible speeds. But this battle was different. The devourer mothership began to pulse with dark energy, and the destroyed vessels started to rebuild themselves from the wreckage. "They're regenerating," Lisa announced with alarm. "The mothership is rebuilding the destroyed devourers." Jake nodded grimly. "Then we take out the source. All planetary units, target the mothership. Earth, you're authorized for direct assault." What happened next had never been attempted in the history of warfare. Earth, humanity's homeworld, fired its continental engines and accelerated directly toward the enemy mothership. The planet moved through space like a massive bullet, its 10 billion inhabitants protected by armor made from reinforced crust. The devourer mothership fired everything it had at the approaching planet. Weapons that could destroy fleets struck Earth's surface, but the attacks were absorbed by shields powered by the planet's core. Continents that had been secretly converted into weapons arrays returned fire with the power of stars. "Earth is taking heavy fire but holding together," reported Admiral Carter. "All population centers secure. Weapon systems at full power." The mothership tried to retreat, but Mars and Luna Prime had moved to block its escape. The Red Planet opened fire with weapons built into Olympus Mons, while the Moon unleashed the full power of its hidden arsenals. "This is for every world you destroyed," Jake said as Luna Prime fired its main weapon directly into the mothership's core. The enemy vessel began to break apart, but it fought back desperately. A massive tentacle of energy lashed out from the eye. Mothership, striking Earth directly. For a moment, the planet's shields flickered. Kate Sullivan watched from the council station as readings showed damage to Earth's northern hemisphere. "Casualties reported in several cities," she announced, "but the planetary shields are holding." It was then that humanity revealed its final surprise. From hidden facilities across Earth's surface, launch tubes opened and released thousands of smaller vessels, but these weren't ships. They were pieces of Earth itself launched into space and controlled remotely. "Continental fragment attack," announced Ben Woods with pride. "We can literally throw mountains at the enemy." Chunks of rock the size of cities slammed into the devourer mothership from every direction. Each fragment was guided by human technology and powered by engines that turned them into kinetic weapons of incredible force. The mothership's defenses finally collapsed. The massive vessel split open, revealing the dark intelligence that had controlled the devourer swarms. But before it could escape, Earth itself moved into position above it. "This ends now," Jake declared. Earth fired its main weapon, a beam powered by the planet's entire energy grid. The attack punched straight through the mothership's core, destroying the intelligence that had threatened the galaxy. The remaining devourer ships stopped moving instantly. Without the mothership's control, they drifted helplessly in space. Human asteroid ships moved in to finish them off, ensuring that none of the planet eaters could ever threaten another world. The battle was over. The galaxy was safe. In the days that followed, the political structure of known space changed completely. The Galactic Council formally disbanded, replaced by the Human Protectorate. Every major species requested human protection and guidance. Jake found himself promoted to Supreme Admiral of Galactic Defense, commanding not just the human fleet, but the combined forces of dozens of species. Kate Sullivan became the first human chancellor of the new galactic government. "It's strange," Kate said as they stood on Luna Prime's observation deck, watching Earth take its place at the center of the galaxy's new capital system. "A year ago, they wouldn't listen to us. Now they're asking us to lead them." Jake nodded, watching human ships patrol between the planets where alien refugees had been resettled. "We spent a century being underestimated. Now we have to prove we deserve their trust." Dr. Lisa Park joined them, carrying reports from the outer galaxy. "Our deep space scouts have detected more threats beyond this region. Other galaxies with their own dangers. The Devourers were just the beginning. Then we'll face whatever comes next," Jake replied. "Together." 5 years later, the galaxy was more peaceful than it had ever been. Human planet ships served as mobile defense platforms, protecting trade routes and colonies. The secret fleets that had been hidden for decades now operated openly, their asteroid battleships a common sight in every system. Earth had been restored after the battle, its damaged cities rebuilt with technology shared by grateful alien species. The planet remained mobile, ready to respond to any threat, but it had also become the cultural and political center of galactic civilization. Admiral Carter, now in his 70s, stood in his office watching new asteroid ships being constructed. These were being built openly, with help from alien engineers who had learned to respect human innovation. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Rogers, "we're receiving reports of unknown signals from the Andromeda Galaxy." Carter smiled. "Alert Fleet Command. It looks like we have new neighbors to meet." The galaxy that had once dismissed humanity as primitive now looked to them for protection and leadership. And humanity was ready. The species that had quietly prepared for war while appearing weak had become the galaxy's greatest defenders. In May, the vast darkness between galaxies, other threats stirred, but they would find a different target than they expected. The galaxy was no longer divided and vulnerable. It was united under human leadership, protected by planet-sized warships and defended by a species that had learned the value of being underestimated. The galaxy had never seen humanity coming, and now it never would again.